Good evening and welcome. My name is Tim Carmichael, and we are here to give tribute, remembrance, and celebration for the life of my wife, Patty Gaynor. It is important for those of us here on this earth to find some way to honor the life of one who was part of our life. When you think about it, the memorial service is something we need to do for ourselves. We need to mark this passage in our lives, and we do it in a way that is personal, meaningful, and as best we can, a celebration of life. We want to remember the good times and those things that give meaning and fullness to life. It all helps with the healing of our hearts as we live with this loss and also to move on with our lives. We gather as colleagues, students, family, and friends from near and far to show our love, care, and support for each other, and especially for Patty's sisters Brenda and Anita, brother Murray and his wife Winnie, a niece, and many nephews. We also include other family members and friends. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, we are following the required protocols and restrictions to limit potential exposures and maintain good social distancing practices for this service. We do know that there are some who are unable to be here today, but we do know that their thoughts, prayers are with us at this time. You can expect today to be an emotional roller coaster kind of time. Laughters and tears can all be mixed up. And that's how it is. We are living with a loss of one who was near and dear to us, and at the same time celebrating a life that was well lived. Patty touched so many people throughout her lifetime. Patty had 62 years on this earth, and many significant relationships were made in that time. We know that she will continue to live in our hearts, thoughts, and memories. Everything we do and say is of great significance because we are honoring the life of one near and dear to us. Today, the university recognized Professor Gaynor by lowering the university flag over the Central Min building, and it will remain lowered for 3 days in honor of Patty's dedication to the university for 28 years. Today, colleagues, students, friends will eulogize Patty Gaynor.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth o'er. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Patty and I met in kindergarten in our Windsor Park neighborhood, fighting over a dollhouse, as she laughingly pointed out later. That fight was resolved and transformed into a beautiful friendship that lasted a lifetime. Bonded by both being left-handed, she was later encouraged to be right-handed, we enjoyed the humor in life. I was in awe of her on picture day as she had to sit in the row with the boys since she had forgotten about the occasion and wore pants that day. Later that year, I broke my leg learning to ski, and my most vivid kindergarten memory was sitting on a chair watching my friends play. We were pals throughout elementary school. A highlight of my week would be going over to Patty's house, about 3 blocks away from my house, to have a sleepover. Her mom would let us have frozen pizza, pop, and chips, all forbidden foods in my house, so very much appreciated by me. Her siblings were older, wiser, and quick-witted. Their family dinners were relaxed with everyone burping at will. Yes, Patty held her own with her sharp mind and fast comebacks. Patty's dad, a University of Alberta economics professor, was welcoming and always entertaining, ready to share a funny story. He would spontaneously call out, "Hey kids, who wants to go to the Dairy Queen?" That was music to my ears. So whoever was around would pile in the car and go for a treat. That was a fabulous lifelong memory for me. Patty spent a year abroad in Zambia when we were in elementary school and a year in Nigeria when we were in grade 8, where Dr. Gaynor was on sabbatical. He helped government leaders with economic concerns, offering his children a priceless international education at the same time. Upon Patty's return, we would catch up and carry on like we always did. That was the theme of our friendship. We supported each other through high school with its ups and downs. We knew there would be many great adventures to come our way. Post-secondary was not a question to consider, just what fields would we study. I took a year off after high school to live in Paris, working as an au pair and learning French. When I got back home, we skipped back into our comfortable, supportive friendship, always sharing a laugh or two, for example, with Patty teasing me about my acquired French taste for things like Dijon mustard and croissants. Patty and I both settled into our respected careers, she in dental hygiene, me in nursing, when we hatched a big plan, to travel to Southeast Asia, Australia, New Zealand for 4 months in 1984. Patty, as you know, was an excellent writer. Many years later, when I got married, she gave a fantastic toast to the bride, which included the following poem that she wrote about our adventurous trip of a lifetime. In 1984, no agenda specific, we traveled together to explore the South Pacific. 3 days into our trip on essentials for girls, our money was blowing on diamonds and pearls. In tiny wrap packages tightly tied to our hips, we carried our jewelry for the rest of the trip. In hostels we stayed like sardines packed in tight, now spending no more than $4 a night. I learned about contacts, she learned how to floss, and we both worked out a system where both could be boss. No sense of directions at times Sue was scary, and any tale that denies this is quite the contrary. Her courage was strong, not once did it falter, even faced with a cockroach the size of Gibraltar. 2 months on the road, my bangs needing a trim, and prospects of finding a barber quite slim. Sue took up the scissors, they were curved nail scissors. She could not have been bolder, and I'm happy to say they've just now reached my shoulders. A chance in New Zealand, a car we were given, though standard shift auto, we neither had driven. Sue took up the challenge, showing no sign of fear, and we covered great distance, albeit in first gear. At the end of our trip, I'm afraid at this time we abandoned our morals and became partners in crime. With innocent eyes, extra smiles for good measure, we sailed through customs with our undeclared treasures. While we were away, Patty thought a lot about Tim. They married in 1987, and I was happily a part of the bridal party. For 33 years, Tim has supported Patty and was her rock until the very end. At the beginning of April this year, when we were all starting to feel the panic of when we could get a haircut, I reached out to Patty and offered to see if her bangs needed a trim. She shared her devastating diagnosis of ovarian cancer with me. I tried to absorb what my dear friend would be facing. As always, she gave me love, strength, and her signature humor. Patty told me about her incredible dental hygiene students, how they plan to walk in her honor in the fight against ovarian cancer. To be a part of this beautiful group of young men, women, her hygiene friends, and supporters was inspiring, but I'd only expect Patty to draw such a powerful and loving crowd. In the weeks to follow, we would share a latte and a visit every Monday. We shared many reflective conversations about this extraordinary event. Patty faced her last challenging battle with acceptance and courage. Forever, I shall hold many fond memories of my dear friend, who I called Miss Pat, close to my heart.
Patty and I were teenagers when we met at the University of Alberta in 1977. We were dental hygiene classmates. My last name was Ford, so we were paired up alphabetically in clinic and for various projects throughout our training. We have remained special friends for over 40 years. We have shared many thoughts, life experiences, tears, and this year, many hours together. Patty and I recently reflected upon why we first clicked and then remained such special friends. We share very similar morals and values and enjoy good humor. I admired Patty's sense of adventure. Our world travel and experiences in different countries were often discussed. When we first met, I was intrigued by Patty's experience living in Africa with her family as a young girl. I loved listening to her memories of that time in her life. I was also drawn to Patty because of her incredible sense of humor and sharp wit. A classmate recently wrote to say, no matter how long it had been since any of us had seen Patty, we were at ease and laughing uproariously within minutes. I've always felt a special connection with Patty. Even when we haven't been together in a while, we could pick up and chat all night. I know we saw the sun coming up more than once after sharing our troubles and experiences. She helped me through many of life's difficulties. She was a natural counselor and a great listener. Our 40 years together provided a background that created a deep mutual understanding. That kind of friendship is not replaceable. Being from BC, I had no family in Edmonton during our dental hygiene years. Patty felt bad for me during Thanksgiving and other special occasions, so she invited me to her family home. These Gaynor evenings left quite an impression on me. I remember the laughter and camaraderie around the table with Patty and her 3 siblings, sisters Brenda and Anita and brother Murray, as well as their parents Walter and Jean. They would sit chatting about their day and the quips and remarks would be flying. My face would hurt from laughing. Patty's mother was a perfect hostess, very proper, but also warm and engaging. Patty said she was like a Mother Goose, so this nickname stuck. Jean was labeled Goose going forward. Patty called her dad Mr. Walt, or sometimes Pooh after the storybook character. Mr. Walt would listen to the banter and once in a while throw in a witty, dry remark, and Goose would say, "Oh, Walter," if his comment was a bit insulting. I loved witnessing this family, sharp thinkers, quick-witted, fun, and friendly. I was so thankful that Patty had thought to include me. I think Patty inherited the best from both of her parents. Everyone loved her quick Walter wit, laughter guaranteed when Patty was around. Her attention to detail, correct etiquette and grammar, and good taste, Goose inspired. Intelligence, academic success, work ethic, sense of adventure, both parents. Analytical mind, Mr. Walt. Frugal with finances, Goose. Cooking ability. I'm not sure what happened there. During our dental hygiene training, Patty kept the stress level down with her quips, practical jokes, and laughter. She had an amazing memory, recalling all the details of our dental hygiene mischief years later. In school, Patty would put funny surprises in our lockers, including slipping dried fruit into our clinic lab coat pockets. She made up membership cards for the Diastema Club. Diastema was a new dental term we had learned, meaning a space between the teeth. Patty had close-up grinning photo cards made for the proud classmates and instructor members with spaces between their front teeth. Classmate and friend Lori Reimer recalled Patty constantly twisting words and phrases to make us laugh. In the bacteriology lab, Patty came up with names to describe the smells of the bacterial cultures in the petri dish. Song of Salmonella, Evening in the Lab, and many more. Going to class with Patty was so much more fun. Gaynor and Ford and other fun classmates were grouped for our 2-week dental rotation up north in Manning, Alberta. Teams of dental hygiene students, dental students, and assistants were sent up to the northern community of Manning to practice our skills. We lived together in a house, and the hijinks began. Each day we thought of new practical jokes to play on each other. One of the assistants happened to mention that she always slept with her hand under her pillow. That night we laid in bed, waiting for the anticipated shriek when the cold spaghetti noodles under her pillow were discovered. Patty laughed about that idea for years. Some of our other classmate memories include Stril-Trek's driving trip to California with Patty. Near San Francisco, they stopped at a campground very late and exhausted. They ate peanut butter cookies and ginger ale for supper. Then they used the ginger ale to brush their teeth. They continued on to enjoy seeing the Grand Canyon together. Lori remembers taking driving lessons with Patty and a suffocating chain-smoking instructor. They also took ceramics together as a lark, but they surprisingly excelled at it due to their dental skills. Both experiences involved much joking and great memories. What a great class we had. We have stayed in touch for over 40 years, mainly due to Patty. She was responsible for being the main organizer of all 4 of our reunions. Our latest 40-year reunion was thankfully in August of 2019. Patty put so much effort into preparing for that special event. Another typical Patty trait was her attention to detail. She crafted handmade beautiful corsages for each of us. She booked a private room in a restaurant after the Faculty Club University alumni ceremony. The table was decorated with little bouquets of flowers and table favors and gift bags and a beautiful cake, all Patty's efforts. She laughed that the cake was ordered. Baking was also not on Patty's talent list. What a great reunion. Patty just loved catching up again with classmates. Some even flew in from BC and the US. The room was filled with multiple conversations and constant laughter. As busy as Patty was at that time, with university classes starting again for the year, she put many hours into making every detail just right for all of us, and was thrilled it was a success. After university, Patty and I continued our friendship. We both started working in Edmonton and shared many dinner parties and evenings. Patty was one of the bridesmaids at my wedding in 1980. A few years later, Patty met the love of her life. Tim was one of her patients. He liked her eyes, he said. He bravely decided to ask her out on a date. Well, so began a wonderful relationship and 33 happy years of marriage. Tim worked in northern Alberta at the time they met in a place called Norman Wells. Patty brought Tim home to meet the family. Mr. Walt labeled Tim with the nickname Norman, and so another family alias was formed. Even Patty called Tim Norman. Tim said she used his real name if he was in trouble for something, but usually it was Norman, or sometimes George. Patty's sister-in-law, Winnie, branded Patty with Miss Pat, and in keeping with the Gaynors, that title also stuck. The dental classmates called Patty Wiener for years in reference to her Gaynor last name. When Patty and Tim planned to marry, a group of classmates decided to throw her an engagement party. We organized a special party. We put our money together and bought a lovely set of pots and pans, but everyone bought and wrapped the tackiest gift possible as well. Unaware of our plan, Patty opened the cow-shaped creamer and the lobster claw oven mitts with an appropriate goose-like appreciative response to each gift before she realized what we had done. The floatable pink flamingo drink holder was what gave our theme away. That was an evening to remember. We all laughed till we cried. Patty and Tim had a marriage to admire. They did daily chores and yard work together and shared their troubles and laughter. They were truly partners in every way, always so respectful. I never heard them criticize each other. She loved and admired the devoted husband he was. Patty was especially thankful for the way he treated her parents as they aged and faced health challenges. He was an amazing caregiver to them and to Patty as her illness progressed. Tim did everything he could to support and assist Patty through their 33 years, and most especially this year. When I asked Patty what people could do to help her, she always responded with ideas that would help Tim. She was worried that he was doing too much. Patty was so appreciative of all who showed her kindness and support through her illness. Her neighbor Diane would arrive to do yard work. Dear friend Sue helped with closet cleaning, and many of us brought meals, cards, and flowers, or a friendly visit. I remember being with Patty as she opened her email one morning. She exclaimed, "Oh, what a windfall! I have 3 emails today from classmates." She was delighted. Patty and Tim shared many special travel memories. They loved to go to Jasper each year to admire the wildlife, the birds, and the mountains. They traveled to all the Hawaiian Islands, the U.S. West Coast, the Dominican Republic, Florida, Costa Rica, Australia, New Zealand, and Cook Islands. They also enjoyed several river cruises from the Netherlands to Germany, Austria, and Hungary, and also from Moscow to St. Petersburg. Patty and Tim especially enjoyed an extended 3-month tour of the game parks of Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, and Zimbabwe. Patty's love for Africa is reflected in their home. Many African artifacts and souvenirs are on display. Patty and Tim traveled to Hawaii with Mr. Walt and Goose several times. They all looked forward to this annual family time together. Patty and Tim had a special love for the island of Maui. Patty's parents retired to Victoria, and I was fortunate to accompany Patty to visit them there. The 4 of us headed to Long Beach and Ucluelet together for a few days. I still smile when I think of all the fun we had. We shared happy hour on the beach each day, packing up our snacks, an array of cocktails, a blanket, and a thermos of ice. Conversation was easy and, of course, funny. Another annual event for years was Patty's Pigeon Lake Jammy Party Girls Weekend. Patty, Lori, and I would pack up Lori's signature brownies, my pasta salad and cocktails, and head to Patty and Tim's boathouse at the lake. We floated on inner tubes, ate junk food, barbecued, and had campfires. Of course, we talked and laughed for most of the night. Patty always joked that she only invited me because I knew how to light the barbecue and chop the wood. Patty and Tim just completed a gorgeous new home at the lake this spring. Patty painstakingly designed and planned every detail. She was so thankful to see their project completed and enjoy it often this summer. She said she found it peaceful to sit on the deck watching the ducks, overlooking the sparkling reflection of the sun on the water. My husband Greg and I planned an annual camp with Patty and Tim at Rainbow Valley in the city of Edmonton. Patty just loved pretending to camp for a day, complete with roasted wieners and marshmallows. When I asked Patty what we could do when she was first diagnosed, she requested a Rainbow Valley camp day. I'm so thankful we managed to have 2 this year, strategically booked between chemo treatments so Patty could fully enjoy. We reminisced about our many dinner parties together, the favorite being a New Year's Eve fondue. She said she never did get the chocolate out of her blouse, but this was one of her best, albeit somewhat blurry, memories together as couples. Patty and Tim also had fun learning ballroom dancing together and enjoyed the formal recitals. They were members and often attended the Citadel Theatre and also the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra performances. They appreciated mixed chorus and especially the African children's choir, Kokopelli. Patty adored her cats. Patty had 3 kitties during their married life, Chester, Charlotte, and Evie, and they were very much beloved members of the family. Patty enjoyed flower gardening, as is obvious by her stunning backyard. She loved genuine gemstone jewelry in very simple settings. She was very interested in art history and the history of the British monarchy. She liked to read novels set in other historical periods. Patty loved miniature ornaments, tiny sets of mementos from various travel experiences. Patty had a childlike excitement about any little gift she was given. I loved that about her. I could go on and on with stories about Patty's ability to make people around her laugh, but there was so much more to Patty. An intelligent person with a depth of character and a deep sense of fairness. She was sensitive and easily hurt. Patty was dedicated to her husband, students, and parents. She was quietly proud of her accomplishments, very modest. She won many awards that meant so much to her, but she did not mention them to others. She was an incredible counselor and a natural, empathetic teacher. Patty just loved her students. The feeling was obviously mutual, as was displayed by the hugely successful walkathon in Patty's honor in September. What a legacy she has left behind to be proud of. I will always miss my dear friend Patty. I will try to not remember her suffering, but think of her only with a smile. We should all strive to be more like Patty, to make people around us feel accepted, be dedicated and excel at our work, to love and treat our spouse with respect, and of course, to make others smile. I like to think that Miss Pat is reunited with her parents now, smiling down on us and watching over her beloved Norman.
I heard there was a secret chord that David played to please the Lord. You don't really care for music, do you? It goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, the major lift, the perfect king composing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Murena riha huboka Uri baba lakamisa Situla mahosana njalo Kuwe baba siti hallelujah 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 I did my best, it wasn't much. I couldn't feel, so I tried to touch. I told that road I didn't come to fool you. And even though it all went wrong, I'll stand before the Lord of song with nothing on my tongue but hallelujah.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Sharon Compton, and I'm the director of the Dental Hygiene Program and a colleague and friend of Patty's. Before I begin, I also want to express my sincere condolences again to Tim, the love of Patty's life. My role today is to speak about another love of Patty's, and that was her love for teaching. I will also recognize her journey to becoming an educator. Patty graduated from the dental hygiene program here at the University of Alberta in 1979, a year before myself. In both years of the diploma program, she received top academic awards in recognition of her achievement. After completing dental hygiene, she continued the following year to complete her Bachelor of Science, specializing in chemistry and zoology. Similar to her academic performance in dental hygiene, Patty received a Province of Alberta scholarship for honor standing in her degree. Following 13 years in clinical practice, Patty decided to pursue a part-time teaching role. It is well known that she loved teaching, but she also loved private practice and providing patient care. Over the years, I asked many times for her to teach more, as I recognized how valuable her clinical experience in perio would be to the student learning experience, but the answer was always the same. Until more recently, when we had the role of the dental hygiene lead, and when this opportunity arose, Patty applied for the position. We were very excited to have Patty accept this role, as it allowed her to spend a lot more time with the students and to have an increased role in shaping clinical dental hygiene education. Patty's ability in teaching was recognized by students and peers. Patty was recognized by the CRDHA in 2003 with the Marilyn Pollock Mabie Award, which is given to someone who demonstrates strong ethics and exemplifies teaching excellence. Patty was chosen twice by students for the Clinical Instructor of the Year Award and as honorary class president by the class of 2006. Each of these awards are student initiated. In 2014, Patty was nominated by her peers and supported by students for the GIB Clinical Teaching Award. This award is given to a person who demonstrates excellence in clinical care, patient management, and teaching in the clinical setting. It is clear to see Patty exemplified here in all of these awards. In regards to Patty's overall contributions to teaching and to the profession, Patty spent many years delivering the local anesthesia course as part of continuing education. Patty was also involved with the dental hygiene refresher course, and she worked to ensure that dental hygienists who wanted to return to practice in Alberta were prepared to the appropriate standard for patient care. Amidst clinical practice and teaching roles, Patty still set aside time to be involved, giving to our profession through her long-standing role as an examiner for the provincial clinical competency exams. It is clear to see through these roles how dedicated Patty was to dental hygiene, our profession. I highly respected her absolute commitment to quality. She truly held the bar high. Patty would spend numerous hours every year preparing for the fall term local anesthesia course. She made sure that every T was crossed and every I was dotted. This level of focus would guarantee that there would be no missteps in the delivery of the course. The students would receive the best experience, and the instructors would also be guided to ensure that they were fully prepared in their guidance of the students. Each year, Patty would insist on selecting instructors with the personality who would bring strong clinical expertise, but most importantly would bring kindness and a calm approach in the teaching lab. Often students are quite anxious in this context, and it was important to Patty to involve instructors who offered a calm, steady, and kind demeanor in their teaching. I know there were times when I thought she was fussing a bit too much about this, but then she would share stories with me, clearly depicting why this was so important, which would result in convincing me to be very selective in the assignment of instructors for this teaching role. As I bring my comments to a close, I wanted to share a few things that I will always remember about Patty. Her impish grin and that twinkle in her eye when she laughed. Her attention to detail. How intelligent she was. Her compassion for students and wanting the very best learning experience for them. Her love and concern for Tim. I will remember our backyard visits. We talked about many things, but we also talked about world politics and politics in our profession. She completely amazed me with her braveness and the way she would talk about how she was preparing to leave us. And finally, I remember sitting with Patty in what would be some of her final hours. Although it was very sad, it was comforting to know that she was at home and she was peaceful. Her memory will always be with us, and her legacy will continue through the practice of hundreds of dental hygiene graduates as they develop their clinical practice. I am confident that they will always remember the advice from Patty as she will rest ever quietly on their shoulder. We miss you, Patty. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. For those who may not know me, my name is Alana, and I am a fourth-year dental hygiene student. I am here this afternoon to share a few words on behalf of Professor Gaynor's students. To Tim and all Professor Gaynor's family and friends, I would like to extend our condolences from all the students. Professor Gaynor was so special, and we are all so fortunate to have been her students. Some believe that we all carry within us a small piece of each person who influences our lives. A small piece of those whose words and actions are significant live on inside of us. Professor Gaynor's students will carry on her practical skills and best techniques. Others will remember her kindness and passion. Some will hold dear personal memories and time shared, and we will all keep with us her bright smile and joyful laugh. Professor Gaynor, through the Walk of Hope, you shared your journey and changed the future for cancer fighters everywhere. Your courage and humility were inspiring to all. Team 4 fighters walked with you and for you, and now we will continue to walk, carrying your legacy with us. On behalf of all your students, both past and present, I would like to say the sincerest thank you for your time, for your effort, for your encouragement and care, for sharing your knowledge and your skill, for showing us how to be great dental professionals and even better people. We will carry our time together with us through our careers and our lifetimes. Just a few short days before your passing, I emailed you to wish you a very happy birthday. You wrote back saying that you had a lovely day, but missed sitting in your backyard as the days were now too cold. My hope is that now you are at rest, where it is warm and sunny, knowing how loved you are. We love you and we miss you.
Hello everyone, my name is Alicia and I was a part of Professor Gaynor's clinical team. Professor Gaynor was a teacher that made a huge impact on my life. I faced many challenges this year and felt more lost than I ever have before. Seeing Professor Gaynor's bright smile and cheerful personality became a light in my life. Her air of positivity allowed me to forget any troubles I had and solely focus on learning in clinic. I always looked forward going to school, knowing that Professor Gaynor would be there. The clinic became my home away from home, all because of the support and care I received from Professor Gaynor. Everyone on Team 4 was able to grow into strong, more competent clinicians because Professor Gaynor supported us through all the adversities we faced. Her passion for teaching dental hygiene lit a fire under all of us to provide the best possible patient care we could. In addition to building the foundation to our clinical knowledge, Professor Gaynor also taught me the importance of patience. In dental hygiene, it is common to feel this need to rush and accomplish more. While it is important to be driven, it is also crucial to take our time to do things right. Whether it be instrumentation or administering local anesthetic, we must utilize our time in the best way we can. The same could also be said about life. It is important to enjoy the learning process and be patient for what is to come. When we slow down, we can see more clearly the people and things around us. We are able to practice gratitude for the things we have now and reflect on the experiences that help us grow. Professor Gaynor played a profound role in all our lives. Her teachings, personality, and values inspired us all to become the best clinicians and people we could possibly be. Thank you for absolutely everything you have done for us, Professor Gaynor. Your legacy will forever live in all of us and the patients we see. We'll work hard and do our best to make you proud. I'll miss you always. Rest in peace.
Hello, my name is Rochelle. I'm a colleague and friend of Patty's. Thank you, Tim, and friends and family for sharing Patty with us. I offer my deepest condolences to each of you. And thank you to those watching for sharing this time with us as we reflect on the life and accomplishments of Professor Gaynor. Much of the time I spent with Patty was related to education at the University of Alberta. I first met Professor Gaynor as a new student in the Dental Hygiene Diploma program 25 years ago. After graduating, I was in one of the first offerings of the newly developed local anesthesia course for registered dental hygienists offered through continuing dental education. Patty was instrumental in the development and design of that course. Soon after that, Patty became my colleague and mentor when I began as a new dental hygiene clinical instructor. Over the years, and though we are 20 years apart in age, we found friendship, understanding, and support with each other, and she has never stopped being a teacher to me. Patty was a natural teacher and mentor. She had a clarity and focus that allowed for clear understanding and direction. She always kept the students, their wellness and their learning as her number one priority and her number one motivation. In reflecting on Patty's life and accomplishments with staff and students over the past month, I have seen the role of teacher entwined in so many of her interactions with so many. I would like to highlight 3 lessons that I think everyone has been taught by Patty and highlight the legacy she is leaving in education. So Professor Gaynor's lesson number 1, be meticulous. Professor Gaynor was a meticulous clinician. As a new graduate, she started working in a periodontal specialty practice and found that she flourished with the complex cases and difficulty. She developed such an expertise in periodontal care that patients found they could often avoid more in-depth surgeries while seeing Patty for their care. Her meticulousness was a natural fit for her to teach at the university. She has taught in all of the preclinical, clinical, and postgraduate periodontal courses that have been offered in the dental hygiene program, such as the degree completion periodontal module. Patty has been instrumental in the preclinical and clinical undergraduate dentistry periodontal courses as well, and has been invited on numerous occasions to provide continuing dental education courses in periodontal and ultrasonic instrumentation, as well as in the dental hygiene refresher, advanced periodontal debridement course, and alternate fulcrums courses. Her courses were always well received due to her positive attitude and sense of humor, her attention to individual student needs, her attention to detail, and her creativity. She even created alternate fulcrums on her own for instrumentation that she coined Gaynor crumbs and would share them regularly. When Patty took on the role of team lead in the dental hygiene program, she would keep meticulous records of student progress. She got to know her students. She would track their learning, their progress, their successes, and their struggles. She got to know them on an individual level as well. She had an amazing memory and worked hard to help each of her students succeed. As an instructor, Patty was meticulous and she was extremely organized. She gave clear direction, demonstrated effective and efficient planning, and always strived to ensure consistency for learners. Students, participants, and other instructors all became better clinicians from her skill as a clinician, her ability to teach, and her attention to detail. Her attention to detail was always reflected in her inclination for thoughtful little treats for students, small gift exchanges at the annual local anesthetic wrap-up Christmas party, which she started planning September 1st usually, and memorable little tokens from her travels, which she shared with us. Professor Gaynor's lesson number 2, build amazing things. Patty built amazing things. She created detailed curriculum. Her teaching influence is so far-reached over the Alberta dental hygiene landscape. Take, for example, her role in developing the local anesthesia courses for both continuing dental education and undergraduate dental hygiene education. She was instrumental in providing foundational education for nearly every dental hygienist using local anesthesia in Alberta over the last 20 years since its inclusion in our scope of practice. Her program continues today. In the local anesthesia courses that she taught over the years, she prioritized calibration. She meticulously created curriculum, resources, manuals, worksheets, tables, summary charts, and supplemented lectures and sessions with detailed notes and other resources. She would ensure students and fellow instructors were well prepared and supplied with any and all possible information that might be needed. She advocated for student learning and the student learning environment within the school and with other organizations, and was always well prepared with documents, case studies, reports, and statistics. Professor Gaynor built amazing graduates. She was meticulous with her hands-on approach to teaching. She told me of quite a few times that a student had thanked her for sitting right down next to them in clinic for an extended period of time and helping them refine their technique. Students loved her and patients loved her. She encouraged critical thinking and its clinical application. She would encourage motivate, and push students to excel beyond what they thought they were capable of. She built an amazing home, lake house, and backyard sanctuary. Her attention to detail carried over in her meticulous planning of beautiful gardens and landscapes, and provided her and Tim and many friends over the years hours of beauty to enjoy with her. Backyard visits were some of our cherished times. She paid close attention to those small details at work and at home. She cared for birds, animals, and plants around her home, but also any time we were near a plant at work, she would water, snip, or prune it to try and breathe life back into it. The courses she has built, the students she has influenced, her home, lake house, and gardens will keep in them her memories and legacy. She will carry on in memory of those things. Professor Gaynor's lesson number 3, go find sunlight. Patty loved to travel, that is no secret. She found sunlight in her many beautiful trips around the world through the years. But the last lesson I'd like to highlight that I found in Patty's life is go find sunlight, no matter where you are. We would often walk at lunch or in the evenings to get outside and see the sun. But in more recent years, Patty liked to sit in the foyer in front of the windows in our building, close her eyes, and soak in the light. I was always later than her getting out of clinics, but I always knew where to find her, in front of a window in a ray of sunlight. And I do feel like this is her final lesson to us, that no matter where you are, go find sunlight. Patty tried to look at things with wit, humor, and positivity. She was always positive and encouraging with students and with colleagues. This last year was hard for her. She had a painful, scary year. But any time I went to see her, I would find her sitting in the sunlight. So no matter how dark, how worried, or alone you are, go find sunlight. And I think that is ultimately what Patty has done. I think she has found peace and rest in the sunlight. Thank you, Professor Gaynor. You will be remembered in our hearts and in our minds and in the teachings you've passed on. Thank you.
Losing a loved one is one of the most difficult things we can go through, and seems so much more so when it's a spouse. No words can express the depth of what I'm feeling right now. I'm sure that only time will help to gradually accept the fact that my beloved has passed this life forever. I will not have an opportunity to see her or speak with her again. I searched for words to express my love for her and found the following, which I think is true. Miss Pat, God saw you getting tired, and when a cure was not to be, so he closed his arms around you and whispered, "Come to me." A golden heart stops beating, your gentle hands at rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us he takes only the best. In tears we saw you sinking, we watched you fade away. Our hearts were truly broken. You fought so hard to stay. But when we saw you sleeping, peacefully and free of pain, we could not wish you back to suffer that again. So keep your arms around her, Lord, and give her special care. Make up for all she suffered that seemed to us unfair. So many times we needed you. So many times we cried. If love could have saved you, you would have never have died. Miss Pat, you are dearly loved and forever in our hearts. In closing, we affirm that love never ends and endures in all things. Love was gathered us here today, and it is in the spirit of love that we bring this service of remembrance and celebration to a close.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I I see them blue for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
dark and I think to myself, what
pretty in the sky, also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where